Again, quote, the temple of God was opened, Revelation 11:19. And he looked within the inner veil upon the Holy of Holies. Here he beheld the Ark of his Testament, represented by the sacred chest constructed by Moses to contain the law of Yahweh. Thus, those who are studying this subject will find indisputable proof of the existence of a sanctuary in heaven. Moses made the earthly sanctuary after a pattern which was shown him. Paul teaches that that pattern was the true sanctuary which is in heaven, and John testifies that he saw it in heaven. In the temple in heaven, the dwelling place of Yahweh, his throne is established in righteousness and judgment. In the most holy place is his law, the great rule of right by which all mankind are tested. The ark that enshrines the tables of the law is covered with the mercy seat, before which Messiah pleads his blood in the sinner's behalf. Thus is represented the union of justice and mercy in the plan of human redemption. This union infinite wisdom alone could devise, and infinite power accomplish. It is a union that fills all heaven with wonder and adoration. The cherubim of the earthly sanctuary, looking reverently down upon the mercy seat, represent the interest with which the heavenly host contemplate the work of redemption. This is the mystery of mercy into which angels desire to look, that Yahweh can be just while he justifies the repenting sinner and renews his intercourse with the fallen race, that Messiah could stoop to raise unnumbered multitudes from the abyss of ruin and clothe them with the spotless garments of his own righteousness, to unite with angels who have never fallen, and to dwell forever in the presence of Yahweh. The work of Messiah as man's intercessor is presented in that beautiful prophecy of Zechariah concerning him, quote, whose name is the branch. Says the prophet, "He shall build the temple of Yahweh, and he shall bear the glory, and shall sit and rule upon his, the Father's, throne. And he shall be a priest upon his throne, and the counsel of peace shall be between them both." That's Zechariah 6, 12, and 13. He shall build the temple of Yahweh. By his sacrifice and mediation, Messiah is both the foundation and the builder of the Church of Yahweh. The Apostle Paul points to him as, quote, the chief cornerstone, in whom all the building is fitly framed together, groweth into an holy temple in Yahweh, in whom ye also, he says, are builded together for an habitation of God through the Spirit. Ephesians 2:20 and 20 through 22. He shall bear the glory. To Messiah belongs the glory of redemption for the fallen race. Through the eternal ages, the song of the ransomed ones will be, "Unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood, to him be glory and dominion forever and ever." Revelation 1, 5, and 6. He shall sit and rule upon his throne, and he shall be a priest upon his throne. Not now upon the throne of his glory. The kingdom of glory has not yet been ushered in. Not until his work as mediator shall be ended will Yahweh give unto him the throne of his father David, a kingdom of which there shall be no end. Luke 1, 32 and 33. As a priest, Yeshua is now set down with the Father in his throne, according to Revelation 3:21. Upon the throne with the eternal, self-existent one is he who hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, who is in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin, that he might be able to succor them that are tempted. Continues, "If any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father. That's found in Isaiah 53:4, Hebrews 4:15, 2:18, and 1 John 2:1. His intercession is that of a pierced and broken body, of a spotless life. The wounded hands, the pierced side, the marred feet plead for fallen man, whose redemption was purchased at such infinite cost. And the counsel of peace shall be between them both. The love of the Father, no less than of the Son, is the foundation of salvation, is the fountain of salvation for the lost race. Said Yeshua to his disciples before he went away, I say not unto you that I will pray the Father for you, for the Father himself loveth you. John 16:26 and 27. Yahweh was, quote, in Messiah, reconciling the world unto himself, according to 2 Corinthians 5:19. And in the ministration in the sanctuary above, the counsel of peace shall be between them both. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. John 3:16. So the question, what is the sanctuary, is clearly answered in the Scriptures. The term sanctuary, as used in the Bible, refers first to the tabernacle built by Moses, as a pattern of heavenly things, and secondly, to the true tabernacle in heaven, to which the earthly sanctuary pointed. At the death of Messiah, the typical service ended. The true tabernacle in heaven is the sanctuary of the new covenant. But the most important question remains to be answered. What is the cleansing of the sanctuary? That there was such a service in connection with the earthly sanctuary is stated in the Old Testament Scriptures. But can there be anything in heaven to be cleansed? In Hebrews 9, the cleansing of both the earthly and the heavenly sanctuary is plainly taught. It says, almost all things are by the law purged with blood, and without shedding of blood is no remission. It was therefore necessary that the pattern of things in the heavens should be purified with these, in other words, the blood of animals. But the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. Hebrews 9:22 and 23. Even the precious blood of Messiah. The cleansing, both in the typical and in the real service, must be accomplished with blood. In the former, with the blood of animals. In the latter, with the blood of Messiah. Paul states, as the reason why this cleansing must be performed with blood, that without shedding of blood is no remission. Remission, or putting away of sin, is the work to be accomplished. But how could there be sin connected with the sanctuary, either in heaven or upon earth? This may be learned by reference to the symbolic service. For the priests who officiated on earth served unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, according to Hebrews 8:5. The ministration of the earthly sanctuary consists of two divisions. The priests ministered daily in the holy place, while once a year the high priest performed a special work of atonement in the most holy, for the cleansing of the sanctuary. Day by day the repentant sinner brought his offering to the door of the tabernacle, and placing his hand on the victim's head, confessed his sins, thus in figure transferring them from himself to the innocent sacrifice. The animal was then slain. Without shedding of blood, says the apostle, there is no remission of sin. The life of the flesh is in the blood, according to Leviticus 17:11. The broken law of Yahweh demanded the life of the transgressor. The blood representing the forfeited life of the sinner, whose guilt the victim bore, was carried by the priest into the holy place and sprinkled before the veil, behind which was the ark containing the law that the sinner had transgressed. By this ceremony, the sin was, through the blood, transferred in figure to the sanctuary. In some cases, the blood was not taken into the holy place, but the flesh was then to be eaten by the priest, as Moses directed the sons of Aaron, saying, quote, God hath given it to you to bear the iniquity of the congregation. Leviticus 10:17. Both ceremonies alike symbolize the transfer of the sin from the penitent to the sanctuary. So such was the work that went on day by day throughout the year. The sins of Israel were thus transferred to the sanctuary, and a special work became necessary for their removal. Yahweh commanded that an atonement be made for each of the sacred apartments. He shall make an atonement for the holy place, because of the uncleanness of the children of Israel, and because of their transgressions in all their sins. And so shall he do for the tabernacle of the congregation that remaineth among them in the midst of their uncleanness. An atonement was also to be made for the altar, quote, to cleanse it and to hallow it from the uncleanness of the children of Israel. That's Leviticus 16, verses 16 and 19. Once a year, on the great day of atonement, the priest entered the most holy place for the cleansing of the sanctuary. The work there performed completed the yearly round of ministration. On the Day of Atonement, 2 kids of the goats were brought to the door of the tabernacle, and lots were cast upon them. 1 lot for Yahweh, and the other lot for the scapegoat. Verse 8. The goat upon which fell the lot for Yahweh was to be slain as a sin offering for the people. And the priest was to bring his blood within the veil and sprinkle it upon the mercy seat and before the mercy seat. The blood was also to be sprinkled upon the altar of incense that was before the veil.